Dr. Manza and the ministry, round 4. This time they're sending the good doctor home. You'll hear why. And we'll tell you about another senior government officer who's been forced to resign. Also, she lost her 12-year-old daughter in Saturday's horrific accident. And tonight, a mother tells us how she watched her daughter as she slipped away. Plus, home invasion victim Gigi Gosson-Bauer tells us about the moment that will never leave him. We've got details of these and other stories in our newscast for tonight, Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021. Good evening. With your news, I'm Indira Craig.
My name is Kira Pinello. I was born in Belize City and I moved around a lot until I settled here in Belmopan. I'm technically a second-generation insurance agent. My grandmother was in the industry for over 40 years. I saw the love she had for what she did and the love she had for her customers. It wasn't just about providing a service, but it was about creating friendships. I am your neighbor. I am your friend. I am your RF&G agent.
Find your nearest RF&G agent on our website at rfginsurancepolice.com, where it pays to get it right.
Start your year with a win with Bellikin and its new promotion, Papa Stopper. Yes, sir. Every time you pop one stopper off our Bellikin, make sure you check under the crown. If you see one bottle shape, you win one free Bellikin. If you see one ball, you win $20. If you see one star, you win $100. And once you see one diamond, you win $1,000. Sure, Bellikin again, you know. Papa Stopper. When you pop a stopper off a Bellikin, check to see if you're a winner. You can collect your free beer or $20 cash prize at the store nearest to you. If you win $100 or $1,000, redeem your prize at the nearest B&B sales center.
Promotion is valid until Saturday, March 27th or while supplies last.
Papa Stopper!
Bellikin, the beer of Belize.
Electricity. We use it to power our appliances, charge our devices, and light our home. Let's all practice energy conservation at home and in the workplace. That's unplug chargers when not in use, lights off when not in the room, turn off fans and TVs. You can also look for Energy Star products and change lights to LEDs, which reduce energy cost. Let's all save energy.
If you have been directly exposed to the new coronavirus or have a history of travel in infected populated areas, it is recommended that you self-isolate. Identify a room to be used to self-isolate and limit contact with healthy persons. Keep away from older persons and persons who have medical conditions that affects their immune system. Monitor for any cold or flu-like symptom for up to 21 days and wash hands frequently with soap and water. If you become seriously ill, call your healthcare provider or 0800-664-2273 for guidance. A health and wellness message from your Ministry of Health.
In partnership with the British High Commission.
Looking for a paint which offers durability, fast drying action, easy application, long-lasting protection, and low odor? then Coronado is the brand you need. Choose from eggshell, flat, or semi-gloss finishes for your home's interior or exterior. You can also protect your deck from the harsh outdoor elements with Coronado Maxum deck and siding stain. We also have primers, masonry, and metal coatings for other projects around your home. Benny's Paint Center has the paint you need in the color and finish you want. Enjoy your newly painted home with long-lasting, durable Coronado paints. Available at Benny's. Quality and savings.
Join us on Wednesday when our guest will be Kareem Musa, the Minister of Home Affairs. Will he legalize it and will he advertise it? And political analyst Damian Goff will tell you who's going to win next week's municipal elections.
Ever since Director of Health Services Dr. Marvin Manzanero came back from sick leave on Monday, February 15th, the Ministry of Health and Wellness has been trying to figure out what to do with him. His office and his posts were occupied by the acting DHS, Dr. Melissa Diaz, and so the ministry's higher-ups offered him 2 posts to go back to the HIV program where he first started over a decade ago, or to take up a post as a medical officer in one of the public hospitals. Both of the posts represented a demotion, so reports say Manzanero balked at the proposals. And then, yesterday, he was reportedly offered a proposal to accept a demotion, which apparently he also declined. Well, the ministry upped the ante this morning and reportedly placed him on administrative leave of 5 days. A letter from the CEO, Daisy Mendes, reportedly says that he is being investigated for misconduct. We understand the allegation is that during the first half of 2020, he did not take up Baja on an offer to sue their lab to ease the COVID-19 testing load. That, it is alleged, led to an increased number of COVID deaths. So with that, he was sent home on administrative leave, presumably, while this case against him is being investigated. Oftentimes, in such cases, a suspension that is sought for public officers accused of misconduct. We are told that the Cabinet Secretary, Stuart Leslie, has also been in talks with Dr. Manzanero on the Prime Minister's behalf. We communicated with the head of the Association of Public Service Senior Managers, Sharon Fraser, who said that they are waiting for a copy of the letter and will comment then. Another senior government official who's on the government's chopping block is CEO Dr. Percival Cha. From 2017 to 2020, he served in the Barrow administrations as Chief Executive Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Forestry, the Environment, Sustainable Development and Climate Change. But unlike almost every other CEO, he was not a political appointment. He's a career public officer with 21 years in the service. But when the PUP won, they appointed Dr. Kenrick Williams as CEO in the Ministry of Sustainable Development, Climate Change and Disaster Risk Management. With that, Cha was told that they only need one CEO, so he is redundant. He was offered to accept compulsory retirement or face a demotion. Best information tells us that happened last week, and Cha may now be considering his options. A mother of 3 is in mourning after her oldest daughter was killed when their family's van overturned on mile 16 on the coastal road. It's the same accident we told you about yesterday when we brought you the story of one of the victims, 18-year-old Janet McNabb, who was 6 months pregnant. But tonight, we have another perspective on this tragedy. We spoke with the family members of the other victim, 12-year-old Leah Valencia. While both victims were far too young, Leah never had the chance to even be a teenager or even to graduate from primary school. Her mother is now left with the indelible image of her daughter's body crushed under the weight of the van. Courtney Menzies got the chilling details of their final moments together from her mother. Here's that story.
A jovial preteen with big plans for her future will be laid to rest next month. 12-year-old Leah Valencia was traveling with her family when the van overturned, crushing her underneath it. It's a trip her family has taken for the past 2 decades, but something went wrong this time. Leah's mother recalled a horrifying moment when the vehicle began to swerve and her brother was at the wheel.
I see my brother they fight for him at the wheel on the steering wheel on the road, you know, because the vehicle made a swerve and stuff like that, you know, but I guess they blow out. If the vehicle had the blowout and thing, that caused on for the fight with the wheel on the road. And then if you've been through the coastal, you know what that they deal with coastal road, you understand me? I remember I closed my eye, I hugged my 3 babies there with Leah between my foot. And yeah, when I hug my baby there, I start praying and I probably lose consciousness. But when I do come to it, that because everybody they out of the van, you know. And me and my 2 baby, me left in the van with my little brother. And that's why I holla for a wee friend. The young man were gone away and that's how he come and pull out my 2 baby. My brother crawl out, they look for his girlfriend, they holla where she there. And then I asked them where my baby, where Leah, and nobody see Leah. So I run around the van. And when I got around the van, and then I see my baby. The last thing I remember before the van flipped, my baby said, "Ma!" And I couldn't grab and get a lot of things about me.
But the 2 people missing were the 2 that didn't make it out alive. 18-year-old Jeanette McNabb and her unborn baby were rushed to the hospital. The other passengers were taken either to the Western Regional or Southern Regional hospitals, all except Gonges, who stayed there until her daughter was carted away in a body bag.
The accident are like minutes to 3. And when the police do come at hours, because when they move my baby off of the scene, it was like minutes to 6. My baby died on the spot. My baby not dead on the way to hospital. My baby died on the spot because they removed my baby in a body bag. And I know my baby me done gone long time because I sit down right there to rub my baby 2 hands. And I had to talk to her and I had to tell her everything all right, baby, everything okay.
A mother's desperate, dutiful attempt to console her baby girl who had already passed on. But eventually, reality set in for this large family. Today, they hung a black bow on their fence in remembrance of young Leah, who had big plans to start high school this year.
We get prepared for high school. I get prepared for high school for my baby at 12 years old. I tell everybody I know. I get prepared for high school and I get prepared for funeral. She me all excited, they circle it on the calendar when the teacher send out the text that they have come to school for their farm.
Gonges shared a piece of her daughter's personality with us, saying she could be found most days inside her room making TikTok videos.
Leah is somebody who is very sweet. Anybody who know my daughter and thing, you could tell my daughter, hey, my daughter no want answer you. Leah is a humble soul. When I tell you a humble soul, humble. She don't know like the legal when they reach early teens and thing, then they look for the boyfriend. No, that wasn't my daughter.
Courtney Menzies, 7 News.
Leah's funeral will be on her mother's birthday, March 4th. She would have been 13 in August. And while the Gonges family watched their loved ones dying on the road while desperately pleading for help from passers-by, a video of their pain made its round on social media and messaging platforms at 4G speeds. In that video, there are several onlookers with their own phones out, ignoring the family's cries for help. The video traveled many miles in a span of minutes, alerting the other family members both in Belize City and Dangriga of the car accident. And to them, it is unsettling that they found out about the incident through social media without being able to call and comfort their loved ones. Leah Valencia's aunt, who was one of those family members, expressed her distress at the video and the subsequent negative comments that blamed her family for the accident.
For me, as the elder, I was very distraught knowing that my family was out there perishing, pleading for their lives, and people stood by, you know, actually videoing the whole incident. It got posted on Facebook before I even knew that my family members were out there perishing. People were already seeing this video. By the time I got the news and, you know, was trying to reach out to people to get help, they were asking me if this is the video that they are seeing out there. I didn't even know about the video. So I was so distraught about that. And again, of all the negative comments that people are putting out there, come on, if you don't know anything, please don't assume. My brother was not high on anything. He is an experienced and careful driver. If he was driving with speed, the whole family would have died. The whole family would have died. So I'm begging and asking people to please stop with your negativeness. And this is not only for my family. It's been something that I think we Belizeans take it as a practice now, that everything is social media. Please, you guys hurt people, family. You understand? This is devastating to our country, not only to our family, because it happens over and over and over, and nobody says nothing about it.
And you guys are upset too that the police were saying that your brother refused a urine sample and blood sample.
Yes. My brother is still traumatized. He still can't live with the fact that that happened, because he was trying his best not for that to happen. You understand? So for you to be in a hospital immediately after an accident and you want to come and joke me and get samples and I'm not focusing, I am not, come on. You understand? So
he went through the windshield.
Yes, he flung. My brother was already dead. If it wasn't for his wife that pulled down his tongue and gave him back life, he would have been dead too.
And your brother, up to now, he's still bedridden. Still.
You saw him there, still in pain. Everybody is still shaking up. Still shaking up.
Two remain in a hospital.
They could go and they could do all their investigation on the van, and they will see that that was a mechanical problem. Accident happened to everybody.
They also said that they're investigating the fact that the van was overcrowded with like 22 people inside it.
Mommy, the van was seated for that capacity, and there was only 9 adults in the vehicle. Everybody else was kids. So do the weight. It could have not been overweight or overweighted.
The family is now looking at how they can take legal action. And while that family continues to mourn, another is grateful that their loved one is still alive. Shots rang out on New Road just after 7 last night at a yard frequently visited by gunmen. This time the target was 19-year-old Karim Barona. But Barona survived and is currently admitted to the KHMH. His girlfriend spoke about the moment she learned he had been hit. Courtney Menzies has the story.
This cell phone video captures the desperate moments as police lugged 19-year-old Karim Barona into a police mobile minutes after he was shot. His girlfriend was with him just before the shooting, and she recalls the moment she heard the gunshots.
Before the shooting happened, me and my friend got a shot from there, so I feel like I would have watched chicken. So when you look at her, I don't okay, so she had like yes, he said, "Hello, you KJ." So he said, "Where you are?" So I said, "I just watch chicken." So he said, "Right now, bring it for you." So we did it. He really thought. Then he found out he had alien. After he got out, when I got upstairs, I hear shots. I had like 8 and then I got shots. So I run downstairs and I run out of the alley. And when I run, I had a DJ. And I get a DJ like KJ. So I run there on the road. And when I reached the 14 in the shop, and I rushed jumped in, I get this bus for my foot, and they carry here hospital.
The area has seen multiple shootings over the years. Even the owner of the yard that Barona was standing in has been victim to a shooting. This victim survived shots to the leg and midsection and was to be discharged today. But according to Avila, he began bleeding again. Still, she says he is recovering well.
Right now, he has a very good condition, but bullets still in her. And I feel kind of weak and things, so they put up on the trips. But he good though.
And you said he was shot twice, once to the stomach, once to the foot.
And there and the rest in a foot and a hand boss.
Courtney Menzies, 7 News.
The victim, Kareem Barahona Jr., is not to be confused with the other Kareem Barahona, presumably his father, who is very familiar to police and has also been shot. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll talk to Christian Gigi Gussenbauer about the scariest night of his life. And we'll tell you when Belize will receive its first shipment of vaccines. Don't go away.
Looking for a paint which offers durability, fast drying action, easy application, long-lasting protection, and low odor? Then Coronado is the brand you need. Choose from eggshell, flat, or semi-gloss finishes for your home's interior or exterior. You can also protect your deck from the harsh outdoor elements with Coronado Maxum deck and siding stain. We also have primers, masonry, and metal coatings for other projects around your home. Benny's Paint Center has the paint you need in the color and finish you want. Enjoy your newly painted home with long-lasting, durable Coronado paints. Available at Benny's. Quality and savings.
Start your year with a win with Bellikin and its new promotion, Papa Stopper. Yes, sir. Every time you pop one stopper off our Bellikin, make sure you check under the crown. If you see one bottle shape, you win one free Bellikin. If you see one ball, you win $20. If you see one star, you win $100. And once you see one diamond, you win $1,000. Sure, Bellikin again, you know. Papa Stopper.
When you pop a stopper off a Bellikin, check to see if you're a winner. You can collect your free beer or $20 cash prize at the store nearest to you. If you win $100 or $1,000, redeem your prize at the nearest B&B sales center.
Promotion is valid until Saturday, March 27th or while supplies last.
Papa Stopper.
Bellikin, the beer of Belize.
Masks protect us from the spread of germs which can make us sick. Make sure your mask covers both your mouth and nose. Remember, don't touch your mask with your hands when it is on your face. Let's all wear our mask properly to stay safe and healthy. Belize Electricity Limited. We care about your safety.
I was born in Belize City and I moved around a lot until I settled here in Belmopan. I'm technically a second-generation insurance agent. My grandmother was in the industry for over 40 years. I saw the love she had for what she did and the love she had for her customers. It wasn't just about providing a service, but it was about creating friendships. I am your neighbor, I am your friend. I am your RF&G agent.
Find your nearest RF&G agent on our website at rfginsurancepolice.com, where it pays to get it right.
On Wednesday, 3rd March 2021, voters of the 9 municipalities will have an opportunity to elect the members to constitute their councils. On your ballot, it is your decision and choice. Exercise it. Be assured that the COVID-19 protocols will be in place for your safe voting. Let your decision be your choice. Voters must properly wear their face mask or other face, nose, and mouth covering, Maintain consistent 6 feet social distancing and sanitize hands before entering the polling station. Having entered the polling station, the voter shows his voter identification card and announces his name in an audible voice. All voters will be required to temporarily remove their face mask or nose and mouth covering for the purpose of verifying the facial identity of the voter. The first poll clerk verifies the particular of the voter on the voters list, while the second poll clerk verifies the particulars in the binder. The voter's name is then ruled off the voters list. The voter is then required to show his right index finger to ensure that he has not yet voted. The voter's right index finger is then sanitized. Allow finger to dry for 5 seconds before dipping it up to the first joint in the indelible ink. The voter is then directed to the presiding officer, who then initials a ballot paper and issues it to the voter, along with a sanitized pencil. The voter then proceeds to the polling booth and marks a cross on the right-hand side of the ballot, opposite the name of the candidates of his choice. With the ballot paper folded to conceal the vote, the voter shows the presiding officer her initials, places the ballot paper inside the ballot box, and then places the pencil in the container for used pencil for resanitization. The voter then exits the polling station. Remember, you are permitted to vote in Belize City for 1 mayor and 10 councillors. In Belmopan City and Towns for 1 mayor and 6 councillors. Disabled, elderly, and pregnant women will be given priority. Electors are encouraged to take along their voter identification card to their polling station to facilitate the process. Your ballot paper will be considered void if it does not have the presiding officer's initials, if the voter has voted for more candidates than there are seats, if the ballot paper is not marked for any candidate, if the ballot paper contains any mark that can identify the voter, and if the ballot paper is unmarked or void for uncertainty. Let your decision be your choice. Always remember to follow all COVID-19 protocols to keep safe. A message brought to you by the Elections and Boundaries Department.
Join us on Wednesday when our guest will be Karim Musa, the Minister of Home Affairs. Will he legalize it and will he advertise it? And political analyst Damien Goff will tell you who's going to win next week's municipal elections.
Tonight on News 5 Live, another execution-style murder in the city. A man with a long rap sheet is murdered in broad.
Time out. Many times it may seem easier to ignore your child whereabouts or who he hangs out with. This can have a tragic consequence. Take a time out and suggest positive activities to keep your children out of trouble. Rashid, you know I don't like to hang out in the crowd. It's dark and it get late. Why me I not go make some banana bread together?
Okay, ma'am. I can invite Marcus over to play some games.
Sure, why not?
Kadilesa Albert Iterlube.
Inita nomada, naba santi go lida ligabri, asata lida l'escola abro hatia. Afiat na lo ni la mege do.
Time out. Weri hali anigi beli habusa rogrigi awena mohaya hagamro duniwa irahia. Baro bada ayano haba hama bisanigo. Demele badugunile bide haba lida leredoroniwa hagamro duniwa irahia.
Press release from the government says that Belize will be receiving its first shipment of the COVID-19 vaccine from the government and people of Barbados. This first shipment set to arrive at the Philip Goulston International Airport by cargo flight tomorrow, February 24, 2021. As has been reported, Barbados got a shipment of 100,000 doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine from India 2 weeks ago. And now they are sending 1,000 of those doses to Belize. A release says negotiations with other countries to source and buy additional COVID-19 vaccines from the country continues. And the ministry anticipates the arrival of the COVAX vaccines at the end of March or the beginning of April. Last night we told you all about the ordeal endured by Austrian expat Christian Gigi Gossenbauer when his resort called Private Haven was invaded by pirates. It's the most violent incident yet in a string of modern-day pirate attacks that have been plaguing the south of Belize. It's also become the most visible when Gossenbauer's initial cries for help was posted via social media and resulted in a community-wide effort at a rescue. And this morning, Cherise Halsal got to talk to the man himself. He's still checked in at Universal Healthcare Partners and is there for at least another night. But this morning he spoke candidly about the most horrific moment of his life, the memory of which he says will never leave him.
It was an attack on Private Heaven, a nightmarish scenario that the resort owner Christian Gigi Gossenbauer never would have expected. But it's what confronted him when he was attacked by 4 men walking toward his house. It's a moment in time that Gossenbauer says will never leave him. And this morning, when I visited him at Universal Healthcare Partners, he told me about his thought process during those moments of terror.
The thing that was also mentally, I thought there should be a way that I can communicate. Like, take everything. Don't leave as murderers. Leave as thieves. Take the things, it doesn't matter. There was no approach. They always said, come out, come out. And I said, I don't get out, I don't get out. So that's when they shot and shot and shot and then, trying to hit my head. I could see it on the walls where they shot. And this communication didn't work. And I thought, how can somebody do that? I am here, I don't want to harm you, you can have everything, my boat keys, you can take everything you can have. It could be so easy, just take the things and leave. Why is it impossible to approach them? And that made me somehow also angry.
It's an anger that was spurred on by certainty of his impending death. And in that moment, Gigi could only think of his children, who had recently visited him on that very same island.
And it was just right now. It was January, and it was the first time that everything was so cool and perfect because of the pandemic. You know, no guests, everything was just for us, and we had so much fun. And my children love Belize. And we talked a little bit about, you know, the dangers or no dangers, but it was always this. It's called private heaven. That's why I wanted to call my kids, for two reasons, because we just had the best times in our lives. I was sure, and sorry, I will cry now, but I was sure I'm going to die. And it was my main intention as long as I can talk, and as long as I don't lose I don't get consciousness, that I can call my children. I knew it was late in Austria, 7 hours later.
And after the heartbreak and the terror, can he ever return? So now, how do you go back?
I have no idea. It's for the next weeks I can't really move. I can already move, I can walk, but it's still starting to bleed, and we need medical attention, so I can't go right away back to the island. My own house is full of holes, everything is broken, everything is destroyed, so that needs to be fixed first and change the setting. So how do you think, how could you ever go to bed again? I mean, not with the same setting. You need something like a fortress where you know you can go to bed and nobody can get inside your bedroom. I don't know what will happen. I really can't tell you. It is so sad. But what I really have to say, this community, Placencia, all the guys, everybody, even in Europe, they tried to call the embassy. The reason that I posted on Facebook was that I don't have a cell phone connection out there, and that everybody came together and helped and organized. This is, for me, I mean, it's like, with all this craziness that, you know, there are only these few people that try to kill others. The majority of Belizeans is just like the biggest heart you can imagine. So I'm not, you know, in no way I am somehow mad at the country. No way. As bad as this was, as beautiful the other things are. To see all this love and support and how everybody comes together.
Cherise Halso, 7 News.
Police have informed Goosenbauer that his stolen boat engine remains in the country, but that it's likely being prepared for transport to Honduras. Tonight, a family from the Mahogany Heights community on the George Price Highway is speaking out against what they say is an abuse of police authority, with few elements of brutality sprinkled in. Marlon Dunn is complaining that the cops made his life very difficult last week, all because they wrongly suspected that he stole a police officer's gun while they were both commuting on a bus. Dunn says he returned from Belize City to Mahogany Heights on the bus with his common-law last Monday. But shortly after they got home, a team of police officers pulled up and began interrogating him about a gun that he knew nothing about. He later found out after his painful encounter with police that an officer pointed him out as a suspect who may have stolen his gun while they were on the bus. He asserts that he didn't take the gun, and moreover, he thinks that the officer was on a different bus when he lost his firearm. Don stopped by our office yesterday and told us about the ordeal that he and his family went through, all because of his wrongful accusation.
We got home, changed our clothes. I went across to my neighbor's house. My wife's still at home. About 5 minutes in between, I saw my little 10-year-old son come running to me, said, Dad, said the police is at our house. So I run back over to my house to see what was happening at my house. When I got there, I met a sergeant in uniform, full uniform, and some couple other police officers. I went inside to my house and I said, officers, what is the problem? The officer says, young man, what is your name? I said, my name is Marlon. He says, okay, Marlon. He just looked at me and said, Marlon, where's the gun? I looked at my hand and said, Sarge, I don't know nothing about no gun. We don't have no gun. I don't stick no gun from nobody. Well, he told me, well, his firearm went missing off the bus. I said, well, officer, we don't have nothing to do with that. Me and my wife is my witness, and we don't have nothing to do with that. Well, he said he going to search my house. I said, well, fine, go ahead. Did what they had to do, and they gone. Fine. When the night now, me and my whole family watch news. We hear knocking on the door. I said, I answered, who was it? He said, police. As I told the man they can't popcorn, he requested the officer from Magana to put me in a handcuff. So I asked him, officer, why you arrest me for? Why you handcuff me for? He said, I will tell about it in a few. He said, Mr. Marlon, where the gun there? So I said, officer, you know again this gun thing? I don't know nothing about no gun. He said, we are conducting a search. I said, no problem, I'm going to go through and conduct on a search. This man turned over my sofa, rip up in my sofa. They look for a gun in my sofa, can't find no sofa, gone to my next chair, no, do the same thing, not find nothing. Turn on in my wall, like a leave hole in my wall. The man gone and rip out the hole in my wall, rip it out, and look down in my wall to see if any gun there. Not find no gun. As I step outside of the first step, the man kicked me back on my foot or so. When I drop the car, but catch me. When they catch me, he not say nothing. I just say, officer, don't want to keep me for me now. Why do I not do nothing? I comply with all I don't know what to keep me for. When they done, they grip me now. Like, all like force out of my hand there, he grip me in now, grip me tight like I had to me gone down. Till he asked me about the gun, I tell him, officer, I swear to me over my grave, I don't know about no gun, I don't have no gun, I don't, why I don't have me about something I don't have. Alright? Then I test me in the truck. The man tell me they want to detain me and my wife. No, me and my wife only want to detain, and we have my 4 picnic at home. Then I ain't give we no chance to make we find somebody for mine if we pick the night, you know. We have to left we pick the night home by themselves. In the house without anything to eat. So we have some good neighbors go the wrong way, we'll look after them for we. But imagine, police come and carry you and your wife for something you don't do, and you have to left a pick them home all by themselves. With nobody for watching them in the house and have to sleep in the all by themselves. Well, as for nothing, they left for right the whole day Thursday till 4 o'clock the evening when they come back for we and tell we are carrying on down the house one more time. We have to wait for getting our transportation to carry on and we'll do one more search. If we do a search and we not find nothing, we are released to know. We have to tell them no problem, no officer. Fine. They take you off 4 o'clock, we get a vehicle and they carry back home to the house. Everywhere they search. When they're done, they don't find nothing. The officers, them are nice enough for me to tell you, you know what, Mr. Dunn and Mrs. Joseph, we apologize for what we put on the through. We apologize for any inconvenience to cause to know, and that they get the wrong information about we.
And his family thinks that the police owe them for damage to property due to the 3 searches in which his sofa set and his wall were destroyed. He says that during these interrogations, one of the officers treated him to several kicks in the midsection, which is still painful when he is trying to sleep. He left our office yesterday with the intention of making a formal complaint to the Professional Standards Branch. Last week, we told you about a chopping incident on Marine Parade in Belize City in which a homeless man allegedly injured a 22-year-old in a reported unprovoked attack. A police officer had to shoot the assailant in the leg to stop him from hurting any of the responding lawmen. Yesterday, he was seen hobbling into court with the leg injury. Tonight, the alleged attacker, 47-year-old Francis Ramos, is at the Belize Central Prison. He was arraigned yesterday before Senior Magistrate Stephanie Gillett on the offense of aggravated assault against police officer Harold Garbett. He pled not guilty to the charge and he was granted bail in the sum of $2,000. But because he was unable to meet bail at the close of business day, he was remanded to the Belize Central Prison. He will remain there until he meets bail or until his next court date, which is scheduled for April 22nd, 2021. Of note is that Ramos will still have to answer to a charge in connection with the chopping of 22-year-old Akeem Patterson. During last night's newscast, you heard Karim Musa, the Minister of Home Affairs and New Growth Industries, discussing a number of important topics during his encounter with the press yesterday. In that conversation, the topic of hemp came up, and the press asked him for an update on his ministry's plan for improved regulations of what could be a lucrative industry for Belize. Viewers will remember that his ministry held a virtual town hall meeting 3 weeks ago to discuss the wider topic of cannabis legalization. In that conversation, Musa told the Belizeans who tuned in that while policy changes for marijuana legalization and regulation were still several months away, his ministry was closer to finishing up policy changes for industrial hemp. He added that these changes would be introduced sometime this month. Here's what he had to say to the media about it.
In relation to the industrial hemp licenses that currently exist, what I can tell you is that the last administration issued 36 licenses. I shared all of those licenses with your counterpart over at CREM, Ms. Yaya Marin. She had asked me for that, I think, very early on in our administration, and that was provided to her. I can also share that with you all. But out of those 36 industrial hemp licenses, only one company, Tropican Farms, is actually growing hemp in our country. And so we are also revisiting all of the regulations surrounding industrial hemp, not just cannabis for the future, but industrial hemp. Because when you look at the system that was in place in the last administration, there was no type of zoning that was taking place. There was no application fees that the government was collecting. And these particular license holders have no experience at all with industrial hemp. They did not even provide, most of them did not even provide a business plan, something as basic as that. And so that is why we are currently undergoing a revisiting of the regulations, and we will be amending the statutory instrument very shortly to incorporate these new regulations that are put in place. Because while it is that both of these industries are very lucrative industries in other countries, if you don't have the appropriate plan in place, the appropriate regulations in place, you will not get anywhere, as we can see today.
And while hemp is on trial in the court of public opinion, those on trial in the Supreme Court will soon once again be able to be judged in a jury of their peers. The Registrar General of the Supreme Court is reporting that after almost an entire year of jury trials being suspended because of the COVID-19 pandemic, they are being resumed in phases. Yesterday, the Criminal Division of the Supreme Court resumed jury trials in the first phase in the Southern Judicial District at the Supreme Court in Dangriga Town. Preparations for these trials were recently completed with the retrofitting of the courtrooms to accommodate jurors while observing the COVID safety protocols. The retrofitting includes providing adequate space for physical distancing, the installation of signage and plexiglass-like dividers for jurors, witnesses, attorneys, and the accused. There is also an implementation of specific guidelines to facilitate the entire process from the selection of jurors to jury deliberations at the close of each trial. Because the selection of jurors requires the attendance of a number of persons, the Supreme Court has secured an exemption from the Ministry of Health and Wellness to proceed with the process. The Supreme Court says, quote, "Jurors can be assured that the Supreme Court of Belize will do its utmost best for them to feel safe and comfortable while they exercise their civil duty," end quote. And we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll tell you about lady solar engineers who set up power for their own villages in the south, and Lemonal villagers ready to put up a fight against a big developer who they accuse of setting up a land grab in their village. Don't go away.
Looking for a paint which offers durability, fast-drying action, easy application, long-lasting protection, and low odor? Then Coronado is the brand you need. Choose from eggshell, flat, or semi-gloss finishes for your home's interior or exterior. You can also protect your deck from the harsh outdoor elements with Coronado Maxum Deck and Siding Stain. We also have primers, masonry and metal coatings for other projects around your home. Benny's Paint Center has the paint you need in the color and finish you want. Enjoy your newly painted home with long-lasting, durable Coronado paints. Available at Benny's. Quality and savings.
Start your year with a win with Bellikin and its new promotion, Papa Stopper. Yes, sir. Every time you pop one stopper off our Bellikin, make sure you check under the crown. If you see one bottle shape, you win one free Bellikin. If you see one ball, you win $20. If you see one star, you win $100. And once you see one diamond, you win $1,000. Sure, Bellikin again, you know. Papa Stopper.
When you pop a stopper off a Bellikin, check to see if you're a winner. You can collect your free beer or $20 cash prize at the store nearest to you. If you win $100 or $1,000, redeem your prize at the nearest B&B sales center.
Promotion is valid until Saturday, March 27th or while supplies last.
Papa Stopper!
Bellikin, the beer of Belize.
Electricity. We use it to power our appliances, charge our devices, and light our home. Let's all practice energy conservation at home and in the workplace. That's unplug chargers when not in use, lights off when not in the room, turn off fans and TVs. You can also look for Energy Star products and change lights to LEDs, which reduce energy cost. Let's all save energy.
Join us on Wednesday when our guests will be Karim Musa, the Minister of Home Affairs. Will he legalize it and will he advertise it? And political analyst Damien Goff will tell you who's going to win next week's municipal elections.
Hey, Dad.
Hi, Brian. Please stop running around the house.
Right now, Dad.
Damn it, Brian! I told you stop it! Can't you hear me? Are you deaf? Or you just being...
Time out. Your life is stressful, and it is easy to lose your patience. When you feel this is about to happen, take a time out. Harsh words are verbal violence and can be very harmful. They are not forgotten. Offering alternatives and communicating with your child is the best way to build real respect.
I'm sorry, Brian. That just had a rough day at work. Can you do something quiet?
Do you want a job?
That's more like it.
Are you kidding me? Mira lo que has hecho. Ahora sí te voy a mostrar. Time out. La mayoría del tiempo los niños no saben que están haciendo algo mal. Usando violencia solo les enseña que pegando es la única manera de solucionar las cosas. Esto solo empeorará la situación y dañará su relación. Tómese un tiempo y hable con sus hijos de lo que está bien y mal. Construyan una relación basada en entendimiento, respeto y amor. Listen, sweetie, it's a very nice drawing, but you know you shouldn't draw on walls. You know how hard it is to keep the house clean. We will wash it off, and from now on, we will draw only on paper. ¿Entiendes?
Just go.
Tonight on News 5 Live, another execution-style murder in the city. A man with a long rap sheet is murdered in broad.
Time out. Many times it may seem easier to ignore your child whereabouts or who he hangs out with. This can have a tragic consequence. Take a time out and suggest positive activities to keep your children out of trouble. Rashid, you know I don't like to hang out in the crowd. It's dark and it get late. Why me I not go make some banana bread together?
Okay, ma'am. Mom, could invite Marcus over to play some games?
Sure, why not?
The long-neglected village of Machakila and Grime Creek in the Toledo district will soon be receiving electricity. It's a basic necessity that most of the country enjoys, but not these southern villages. In fact, they also don't have water and decent road access. But one step at a time, right? These villages will soon be enjoying solar electricity thanks to a collaboration between Plenty Belize and the Ministry of Rural Transformation. The project was developed by the former, while the latter will provide the materials and logistical support. And to top it off, Plenty Belize has employed 3 women engineers who received training at the Barefoot College in India to install the small household solar systems. Today we spoke with the CEO in the ministry about the project dubbed Indigenous Female Solar Engineers, scaling up solar energy to Machakila and Grime Creek.
As you rightly pointed out, these communities are off the grid, literally, and figuratively as well. Public services don't reach there. There's no light, there's no water, there's no road, However, they still have to contend and try to live life as normal as we know it. So for instance, students travel from Machakila, go to high school when they can attend school, and they have to walk because there's no road. The road only goes up to a certain point. And then when they get home late in the evening, because they've been walking, they don't have any electricity to do their homework. And then they have to wake up again early in the morning, and then they don't have running water, which everything we take for granted where we live in the capital or in the city. And so for us, this is extremely important. And for a long time, for more than a decade, the rural sector in the country has not been given the appropriate level of attention, even though a little more than half of the population live in rural areas.
Can you also speak briefly on the women engineers that will be a part of this project?
Yes, this is one of the very neat and unique aspects of the project, and I'm very, I give kudos to Mark Miller and Plenty Belize for giving the women this opportunity. Normally when you have these projects, you bring in outsiders to do the technical work, but in this case, we are not only getting local people, but we're getting women who were trained in India to do the installation of the solar panels. So we call them solar engineers because they know how to do this, and they have developed this skill, and it's going to be put to good use now to help other communities. And we're excited to have these women be the lead in systems. And on top of that, they will also be training the villagers so that they can maintain the systems, and so that they don't have to return on a regular basis, because it's very difficult to get to those communities.
The engineers are Florentina Choko, Miriam Koch, and Christina Chok. 2 of the women are from Santa Elena and 1 from Santa Teresa. A small solar-powered water system will be installed in Machakila as well. Additionally, the ministry also donated over 6,000 worth of PVC pipes and fittings of various dimensions to the Pablo Vieja Water Board in Toledo. The materials will be used to complete the expansion of water supply to areas in the village that are currently unserved. The United Nations Population Fund, the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, the United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF, and the international organizations are launching a series of mobile centers for asylum seekers and migrant communities in wildlife and southern Belize. These organizations say that Belize is currently home to approximately 51,000 migrant persons, and in 2010, 14.8% of Belize's total population accounted for foreign-born persons. Belize also hosts 2,394 registered and an estimated 3,400 more unregistered asylum seekers and refugees. They are mostly from nearby El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, and Nicaragua. These mobile clinics will allow for these UN agencies and IOM to coordinate humanitarian assistance and support to respond to issues of migrants, refugees, and residents of their host communities. The first phase occurred last Saturday and Sunday in Bella Vista Village. This coming Saturday, the mobile centers will head to Valley of Peace, and on March 13th, they will go to Benque Viejo town. The beneficiaries will be able to access a menu of critical health, legal, and social services. A liminal land issue in the Belize River Valley has been developing for some time now, and residents are letting their opposition be known. They have invited the media to visit the village tomorrow to learn more about their plight. The matter at the very surface surrounds a huge tract of land in the village that is being cleared by a wealthy developer who operates in the area. According to a letter written to the chairman of the village back in 2019, portion of land is about 700 acres. That area exceeds the size of the entire village, which is only 500 acres. Still, the villagers have for decades used the lands immediately adjoining the village for farming and fishing. Former resident Anna Banergai has written to the former Minister of Natural Resources, Hugo Pat, several times, as well as the Mining Department of the Ministry and the CEO of the Department of Environment. Her requests have gone mostly unanswered, and as such, she has asked the media to highlight the issue. That full story will air on tomorrow's newscast. And as those migrants arrive, don't have to worry about coming into a COVID-infested country. That's because Belize's numbers have been steadily trending down. In fact, tonight's Ministry of Health report includes no COVID deaths recorded today. Out of the 1,579 tests completed, only 9 new COVID-19 infections were detected. Here's a more detailed breakdown from Claudette Dacres-Norales, the Health Ministry's Information Officer.
A total of 1,579 samples were tested. Out of this, 9 samples have resulted positive for COVID-19. There are 118 individuals newly under investigation. There are 12 new recoveries to report. Today, we also report that 7 infected persons are hospitalized. Unfortunately, 3 of these individuals are being treated at the intensive care unit. There are no new deaths to report. The cumulative report we are presenting is from March 2020, when we had our first case. The new total of active cases now stands at 151. These are those persons who have been confirmed and are within the time frame to transmit the virus.
Orange Walk, which today reported 4 new cases, and Stan Creek, which reported 2, are currently responsible for the highest numbers of cases countrywide. Tripes, they mean green and hungry for beans, specifically black-eyed beans. There's just the newest pest that is to affect export-oriented northern crops. That's the last thing farmers need at the moment, since they depend on this particular crop for income generation. Today, Minister of Agriculture, Food Security and Enterprise, Jose Mai, met virtually with a group of grain farmers, that is from Shipyard, Blue Creek, Indian Creek, Little Belize, Newland and Spanish Lookout, to discuss their black-eyed beans production and how badly they've taken the hit to portions of their harvest. The minister assured farmers that personnel from the Belize Agricultural Health Authority have been in the field to collect samples of the pest to determine its specific classification to make decisions about how to combat it. Ministry personnel have also been liaising with farmers in an attempt to contain the spread. Last night, we brought you coverage of the honest and open conversation that the new BTL Board of Directors had with the shareholders at the company's 14th annual general meeting. That event was carried out virtually, and the new chairman and the company's CEO gave detailed presentations on why the profitability of the national utility company had fallen so significantly. Explanations were offered on the company's performance over the last 10 years, the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic on the company's gross revenues, as well as plans that the new board of directors and management have for turning the company around. The question of how long it would take for taxpayers to get a return on the investment that the Barrow government made to regain ownership of BTL for just about $500 million did come up. The new chairman told the press this weekend that if he and the new management team can turn the company's fortunes around, the full return on that investment will be approximately 25 years. Here are those comments.
We looked at the performance of the company over the last 12 years, and the company was averaging a return on equity about 8.6%. So we don't think that our starting at 8% is unrealistic. Now, over the last 2 to 3 years, we had some anomalies in the performance of BTL. They embarked on this aggressive path to borrowing and investing in capital. And quite frankly, there was not the attention that was deserved being paid to the bottom line, net profits. None at all. And that is a travesty. But we're focusing on that now, of course, because we can't continue to borrow and operate on overdrafts and that kind of thing. We have to make the company sustainable. We have to put it on a sustainable path, and more so, the country now expects and deserves returns on this investment. So the projections that we made was that if we continued at 8%, it would take us some 70-something years for the government of Belize and the people of Belize to recover its investment. I must say that we were very conservative when we were making these projections, so because we put the cost of money at 3.5%. If we continued on the path we were on at a 3% return on equity, it would have been over 100 and I don't know how many years. So we had to bring it up, and we started at 8%. At 8%, it's going to take us some 70+ years. The presentations that we're willing to share with you will show you that. At 8%, it'll take over 70 years. We can't take that long to get back our return on an investment, man. And if we gradually move it up to 12% over the next 5 years, incrementally, slowly, right? It's going to take us some 25 years for the people of Belize to recover from this investment. And we think that that is absolutely reasonable.
And that's all we have for you for tonight. Thanks for watching With Your News. I'm Indira Craig. Remember that you can read a full transcript of this news at 7newsbelize.com and see our streaming video of the newscast on our Facebook page. Remember now to wash your hands, to wear a mask at all times in public, and to keep your social distance. The curfew starts at 10 tonight, so please stay inside. Join me back here tomorrow at 6, and until then, have a great day.